This is an incoming transmission from the Jersey Shore.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group. Today you'll hear some of the most important financial information and wealth-building techniques available anywhere.
Let's get this party started, huh?
Do you have a question for Scott and the team?
Am I on the air?
609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646.
We'll get that information to them by radio.
Now, Financial Insanity with Scott McLean.
Thank you so much for joining us for Financial Insanity, out-of-the-box thinking for your financial sanity. I'm your host, Alex Dingman, alongside, as always, Scott McLean, founder of McLean Advisory Group, and my friend. Scott, is great to see you as always. We're going to be,
Thanks, buddy.
Yeah, buddy. We're going to be talking about 2025, some things on the horizon, and always excited. New year, new challenges, new opportunities, right, Scott?
There's a lot of opportunities. It's exciting, but there's a lot of volatility. I look at the VIX volatility. It's very high. So we'll talk about that for those people that are nervous. Maybe they have the itch and they want to stop itching or scared. So thanks for joining us if you're out there. And we appreciate you listening to our show.
Absolutely. And so we're going to be talking about some key economic challenges. What are we watching out for here in 2025?
We're watching out for a couple things. I think that's going to be very helpful is number one, the inflation. Market volatility is going crazy now that Trump's making some rules and putting some in place, and then Social Security. So there's a lot going on, Alex. And you want me to break them down to make it easier for our listeners? Yeah,
let's start with inflation. You know, we're seeing it come back down, but it seems like, you know, maybe it's kind of stalled a little bit. What can you tell us about the current state of things?
Number one, brace yourself.
Yeah.
Because I don't think it's coming down right away. First of all, the Fed's playing a game called whack-the-mole with interest rates, and you try to tame the inflation without sending the economy into a spiral tailspin. And the big question is whether the inflation really stays sticky or starts to behave. And if sticky, of course, that means the higher costs. And retirees aren't going to like it, and they're probably spending more money and, of course, going to the grocery cart. So we think about market volatility in 2024. Pretty much the election results are going to have some impact. And we're looking at that right now. So number one, do we see it going down? I right now don't see it going down right now, but we are looking at our portfolios and making sure we have a lower risk factor in our portfolios. We are nervous about all the trade wars that are going on. And of course, Trump is putting a lot of stuff in the market that could really cause some problems. So bottom line, you know, walking into a year of some challenges on inflation. Of course, market volatility.
Yeah.
Well, that's the elections. And so we know Trump says a lot of stuff, and then he's just trying to get people to the table. And, of course, the global tensions, the interest rates are moved. We see what's right now. If the tariffs are kicking in, we're looking at the Canada and Mexico could spin them out of control. It could be a problem. So we're looking at that. In addition to that, interest rates are moving corporately slowly, but I don't see it dropping like they were talking about in 24. And following the last one, we spoke about the inflation, the market volatility. This is where people make mistakes. They jump out when they shouldn't jump out, or maybe they need to reallocate their portfolio, which if you're out there and you're a client, give us a call. But we are paying attention to that. And the last one in the tool shed, that's affecting everybody who is on Social Security, and we can't forget about that. So the key discussions on that, Alex, really inclining us to think about, are we on a cliff? Are we not on a cliff? Could Social Security run out or be reduced by 25% by 2033? If Congress doesn't make some changes, which they should, that is a problem. So they need to make those changes. In addition, Trump wants to make it tax-free. Could be a tremendous for you listening. If you're taking Social Security or thinking of taking Social Security, this is why people call our office and speak to us off the air, 609-488-4666. And why do they call? If again, they enact this rule that Social Security is tax-free, remember, Alex, Social Security can be taxed up to 85%. So if you're making $10,000 a year in Social Security, to keep it simple, that means $8,500 is going on the tax line. Now, if you're listening to us, could you be paying tax on Social Security? Well, if that's off the table, this could be some great strategies if it if it, of course, goes into play. And this is why you don't want to wait, why you definitely want to work with your financial advisor or call our office at 609-488-4646 to say, Scotty, George, what do we do? They're making Social Security free. I do a Roth conversion? Should I take Social Security? What's the ramifications, pro and con? I think that's what's going on with these three different areas, as you brought up, the inflation, market volatility, and Social Security. And that's what's going on right now. It's really exciting and could be scary for a lot of people out there who are on a fixed income.
Scott, I want to go back to Social Security a little bit. We know that, the cost of living adjustment always comes out, and we see that it's a modest increase this year, 2.5%. So how do you talk to folks about helping keep their income, in pacing with inflation?
Well, the nice thing, Alex, is we did get a bump in pay not we, I should say, those who are taking Social Security of 2.5. Now, if you're not taking, of course, your portfolio in the Social Security world is going to go up 2.5. You won't see it, but you'll see if you download and go to mysocialsecurity.gov, you'll be able to see the increase. Now, that being said, it's not exactly keeping up with the real cost of inflation, obviously.
Right.
We know. We hear everything on TV. It's about eggs. Well, calm down. It's more than just eggs. But yes, we see that.
But the eggs, Scott.
It's exactly the eggs, Scott. And grocery bills, the utility bills. So we like to always tell people that Social Security is a foundation. It's not the full retirement plan. That's why when you meet with your financial advisor, or if you decide, I want a free consultation, I'd like to meet with you, Scott or George, in our office. This is a wonderful time to give our studios a call and say, let's come in, let's meet, speak to one of our associates in my office and say, I'd like to come in at 609-488-4646. Because really, maybe you don't want to rely on Social Security alone. Because with inflation, that's going to go up a little bit, but I call it the squeeze factor. You're squeezing the juice out of this beautiful lemon, and all of a sudden it's stopped coming out. So I think what people need to really look at is building streams of income in their portfolio, whether interest rates are high or low, which we're coming out of high interest rates. So you enjoy those nice dividends or interest payments. But the question is, will they go up or down? How does that affect your retirement? The worst thing to do is what? Sit on your tailbone and do nothing, not getting the advice or the consultation you probably should talk about now as we watch what's going on in the economy.
Yep, as we are talking about some of the challenges facing retirees here in this year, 2025. And Scott, bond markets, they signaled that they anticipate interest rate cuts this year, possibly around 4%. What are some ways those rate cuts could impact retirees?
The rate cuts could affect many and all people on a fixed income. And then, of course, how you're pulling money out. Are you dollar cost averaging when you put your money in? Well, if you're dollar cost averaging when you're pulling money out, you could be eating your own principal. This is important as we watch interest rates going down. Is your income going down? So we look at CDs, money market savings account. Of course, we've been enjoying those for the past few years. We see them dropping slightly. And by the way, there are some great rates out there that are still available around 5% or more, whether it's 3, 4, 5 years fixed, where banks can't offer that and insurance companies can. When we think about parking cash, that's the easy way. We also make sure that bond values tend to go up when interest rates go down. So this could be a sweet haven right now for fixed income. And that's good news for retirees because really holding longer term bonds as their values in the bond may go up, but you're still getting that coupon or that dividend twice a year. But again, if you're investing and you're new to bonds or preferreds or tools that are paying you a nice dividend, it's nice to know what you're investing in. Number 2, the strength of the companies. And number 3, the most important thing is when you show up at the mailbox, is that check going to be there? This is the strength and the power of the companies, which is why when people call us at our studios and ask what's going on and should I go into bonds, feel free to give our studios a call. Alex, I would love the people to give us a call at 609-488-4646. And we could spend a couple minutes. Again, 609-488-4646. Because historically, his stocks do well. We came out of a tremendous year, 2024. But could this year fuel your Pepto-Bismol to start taking more or not? I don't know. But again, we need to understand volatility, your risk that's out there. Should we go into the fixed income stream since interest rates are high? Because remember, as I just said, if interest rates are going down, the bond values, the long-term bond values are going up in value. This could be a great place to put your money of many other places in the universe of investing.
No, I love that, Scott. And as we are talking about investing and obviously, focusing on those entering retirement, how do you kind of change that strategy when it comes to investments as you do get into retirement? Because it is a different world now.
We do need to change the strategies. We do change them often. And obviously, as Americans, we're all optimistic. We all want better. Problem number one, which I've noticed throughout my entire 40 plus years in the industry, is number one, retirees need to be proactive. And that means if your advisor is not calling you and letting you know what's going on, maybe you need to give them a jingle or give us a call. Number two, being proactive. Should I go into fixed income or stock market or both? We think about the opportunities. Optimism, of course, is the projection of what we're looking at. And the investment strategies, whether you're shifting from growth to income, maybe you're out there, you want to reduce your exposure to the market and you don't like that volatility because you can't sleep well at night. Or maybe your husband or wife, your spouse, your significant partner just passed away and now you lost a significant income. This is a time not to be really mundane and relaxed. This is a time to really sit down and talk, even if you got a large inheritance. This is a time to really plot out a game plan because there's nothing worse than doing it at the last minute. So we want to be tax smart. In addition, paying attention to all these areas, whether it's the risk of the inflation, Social Security. So there's a lot out there. And Alex, if anybody would like to give our studios a call, please feel free because volatility is here. It is not going away. When Trump makes a decision, it could be for a week, 2 weeks. It could be for life. We don't know. But again, it's rattling the markets, which means if you're listening to our show right now, which we've been doing for so many years, are you getting rattled? Let's get unrattled. 609-488-4646. And maybe we can really help calm the nerves and have you come in and visit with us. No cost, no obligation. 609-488-4646.
Thank you for that, Scott. And thank you to all of our great listeners. Plenty more to come. This is Financial Insanity.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money, but do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
And when you pay down debt, you don't pay down the highest interest rate. The biggest mistake is you pay the highest interest rate card when you should do the snowball effect of paying down debt.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
Today, we are discussing the Income Toolbox, all about building a stronger portfolio, one tool at a time. I'm Alex Dingman, alongside Scott McLean of McLean Advisory Group. And I know you're going to have questions. Jot this number down, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. Scott knows better than anybody that it takes a lot of different financial tools in your portfolio to keep your retirement on track. We're going to talk today about corporate bonds and the difference later on between corporate bonds and mutual fund bonds as well, because that's an important distinction. But Scott, let's, if you would, kind of display the power here of bonds and why we're talking about this here today.
I'm so excited about talking about bonds because I think about Jack, a classic growth investor. They want to grow your money. And he rode the waves of the stock market up and down for decades, enjoying the high and the enduring lows. But, as Jack, or maybe you out there, you get closer to retirement, you start losing a little sleep. Or maybe you got that spouse of yours putting an elbow in your side thinking, every time the market takes a dip, honey, you change your personality. Or perhaps maybe you lay awake at night hoping and wondering by osmosis, will the market go back up? And of course, you learn the market's up and down, and you could possibly seeing your gains turn into losses. So again, we'll use Jack. He wants to start selling his stocks. Because why? He needs income. Write this down. Reverse dollar cost averaging. You see, when the market's down, you're faced to sell when you have this income you want, and you have to sell at lower prices, which means you're selling more shares to get the same income. Reverse dollar cost averaging. You see, one day, particular volatility, if the market's really swinging up and down, not only is your personality changing, I've noticed so many times, Alex, I'm sure you've seen the seniors, their personality changes. The market's up, you're happy, market's down. I say go to the doctor and get some Prozac, but pretty much you're on your way to keeping your money safe. We need income. Tools that will pay a consistent income, whether the market's up and down. It's almost like a loan. So corporate bonds, as we talk about, it could be great. Now, imagine this: instead of stressing out about the markets up and down, you pretty much get yourself a nice tool. You don't have to worry about the markets. You're out to dinner. You're playing with the kids. You're watching the football, the grandkids playing, and like clockwork, the check shows up in the mailbox or in your checking account, just as promised. So this could be a great tool. But those in the stock market, in the growth area, you don't understand how it works because you really haven't been in that world. And when you change from the growth world to the income world, it's a different world to understand. And it's almost like going deep sea diving. Are you used to it? Can you handle it? Can you sleep well at night? This is income, predictable. You can bank on it. And of course, this is what I find so important, Alex. People don't understand how to look at it in this time of possibly a great time for corporate bonds.
Right. Well, then that's what I was going to say. It seems like it could, take some of the stress out of investing, especially people as they're approaching that retirement, maybe want more of a quote unquote sure thing. But talk to me a little bit more. Okay, what exactly then are corporate bonds? How does this work?
Think of, Alex, your name is IBM. And you want to raise some money for some reason, so you're going to issue a bond. And you're promising to pay me, Scott McLean, or the investors online listening to us right now, in writing, a documented piece of paper called the bond with the stated date when it's due. Maybe you're going to have a stated interest rate. Let's just say it's 5%. And you must pay that no matter what, hell or high water. And you're banking it almost like it's like a loan. And so you're going to pay me twice a year as a corporate bond. So we know two things. Number one, we know the interest rates and we know when it's coming due. Now, what coming due, Alex, means really clearly, coming due means I got to give all the money back. So, Alex, if you loan me $100,000, or I'm saying I give you $100,000, Alex, for your bond, and you're paying me 5%, and the bond is called in 5 years. That means you've got to pay me a semi-annual payment 2 times a year, and at the end or the call period, when it's over, you've got to give me all my money back. So I'm just eating the interest. I call it the chicken and the egg. The chicken is the investment. The egg is the dividend or interest payment, and I'm getting that egg. So I can either eat the eggs or I can reinvest the eggs and buy more chickens. And this is what's a lost strategy in the world of investing for fixed income. And don't misunderstand this for mutual funds. We'll talk about that later, mutual fund bonds. But understand, corporate bonds could be a wonderful place, Alex.
Well, and Scott, for folks out there that
want to learn more,
609-488-4670. 4646. Again, 609-488-4646. I'd love to hear from you.
No, thank you so much. And, one saying my mom told me as a kid was, if it sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And Scott, I know you're a straight shooter. Let's talk about the corporate bonds. We talked about maybe some of the safety there, but break down the good, the bad, maybe the ugly about corporate bonds, if you could.
Beautiness of the corporate bonds is, number one, we have to see who the company is. Let's take a look at the company and rip it apart, and let's see if they can pay the interest payment. Let's see if they have too much debt. Maybe we don't want to go in a corporate bond. Let's rip off the facade of how beautiful the company is, like General Motors. When General Motors was a big company and people bought their bond, well, remember, General Motors became bankrupt, but they got 18 cents on a dollar. They didn't get the full money back. So be careful when you're investing for corporate bonds. That's the ugly. The good, let's say it's a very strong company. My friend out there, Public Storage or IBM or some strong companies. Well, we know that they can pay. They've got a strong balance sheet. We know that they're issuing a bond because they want to expand their business or whatnot. We're going to look at these corporate bonds and the safety of the corporate bonds. That doesn't mean they're guaranteed. It means, well, if they have enough income, that they have enough profits, they have enough assets, they could be a wonderful tool. Unlike a company called Xerox that used to be around. Of course, I think about other companies out there that could be maybe weak. Let's make sure they're strong. The good, I'm getting a check. I can bank on the check. The wonderful, I'm going to get a corporate, and after the period of time when the period is over, called the call date, or when it's ended, I'm going to get a check, like the Tiger Bond. The Tiger Bond in many years ago, which was the Treasury, was paying, 13.25% guaranteed. And you know what? What a great bond that was, guaranteed by the government. So let's take a look. Again, that's the government bond, but the corporate bond, let's look at the company. The good, the steady check. The bad, if it's weak and you buy it and you get caught in hype. The ugly, they go bankrupt like General Motors did, and you get pennies on the dollar. So this is important when you're looking at fixed income, that the advisors who really don't specialize in this area, almost like a knee surgery specialty or brain surgery, you've got to really dive into the nitty gritty before you buy this corporate bond. But the good news, oh my goodness, we don't want default. That's the ugly. But the good news, the steady check. You can bank on it showing up in your mailbox twice a year.
Well, and Scott, I love your energy for helping folks and for educating people, and the knowledge that you have here about different income tools as we're discussing corporate bonds today. But I can just feel it coming out of you that you're it's something that you just feel like it's really important, because it's something that you think that people are not educated enough about, right?
They're not. And unfortunately, I'm the old person in the house talking to you young people out there. What do I mean by old? You see, in 1982 to 2000, the market was nothing. Well, there's a couple dark skies, but it was blue skies. Anything you touched, anything you felt, anything you smelled, anything you invested in, it made money. So who the heck wanted to buy a smelly, yucky bond? Bonds are boring, Scott. I'm getting a steady payment. Yet the market's making a 5, 7, 10, 15% rate of returns.
Right.
And you are bored with this boring bond. And now a 2000 kicks in. The price to earnings ratio is 44-1. It was too high. It was a major indice. As we spoke about in the market, it's time to get out. Let's get out. Well, people didn't want to go to bonds. They were looking for the blue skies that turned into dark skies, and the market dropped from 2000 to 2002, and the market dropped. That's right. It dropped around 48%. Some mutual funds and stocks dropped even 55%. But if you want that steady income, this, when you get older, could be a nice steady income, a great tool. I didn't say sell everything you have out there. Listen, make it very clear. I'm saying you need to understand, because people were not being educated on duration. They were not interested in, they were not understanding guarantees or what the companies were guaranteeing by way of paper. And they were not understanding how can I get paid. And therefore, that was put aside, hoping and praying that the market would continue to go up. And when it dropped from 2000 to 2002, from 2007 to 2009, people were nervous. They couldn't sleep, Alex. Bonds could be a great tool out of all the tools in the fixed income area. And this is one of the wonderful type of tools if you'd like to sleep well at night and get that check in the pocketbook.
Want to learn more?
609-488-4646. Please write it down, 609-488-4646. I'd love to take your questions. I've got answers. And if I don't have answers, I promise you I'll get them.
That is Scott McLean, McLean Advisory Group. Remember the website as well, financialinsanityradio.com. As we're talking today about some different tools that you need to have in your income toolbox, we're discussing corporate bonds, but on the other side, an important distinction needs to be made. We're going to be talking about corporate bonds versus bond mutual funds. This is Financial Insanity, out-of-the-box thinking for your financial sanity.
Stop for a moment and think about this. Do you know how much money in your 401k or IRA is actually yours? Or will the government take a bigger chunk than you thought? Remember, you still might owe taxes on that money, but do you have a plan to help make sure you don't pay more than you should? At McLean Advisory Group, we believe you deserve to keep more of what you've earned, which is why we're here to help you navigate the confusing world of retirement taxes. It's your money. You deserve to know what's at stake. Right now, taxes are historically low, but they won't be this low forever. So call the McLean Advisory Group team today so you don't miss out on this opportunity. 609-488-4646. That's 609-488-4646. You work hard for your money, and we'll work just as hard to help you keep it. McLean Advisory Group, 609-488-4646. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, an SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Tax Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies are not associated entities.
I call it the chicken and the egg. The chicken is the investment, the egg is the dividend. And so when the chicken pops out the eggs, if you don't need the money, let's reinvest the eggs and buy more chickens.
Man, that's just an excellent analogy, Scott.
We made it back. This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, presented by McLean Advisory Group.
Discussing the income toolbox today, building a stronger portfolio, one tool at a time. I'm Alex Dingman alongside Scott McLean of McLean Advisory Group, right here in Waretown, serving Ocean County and beyond, helping you shore up your retirement future. That number, if you have questions, 609-488-4646 for Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. As yes, we are talking about some different tools to help you generate some retirement income, discussing corporate bonds today. Very important topic, and we need to make an important distinction here, Scott. If you could talk about the critical difference as we are discussing corporate bonds, but also what a lot of people know about, maybe are invested in our bond mutual funds. What's the difference here? What do people need to know?
Let's get to basics. First of all, if you're out there and most people don't know about bonds and how they work, or maybe you have a little ideas, a bond is like a loan from a corporation. A bond is like a loan from a corporation with a set period of time called duration. So let's say it's IBM. They're going to offer a 5% bond, and it's for a 15-year period. So we know how long they have to pay that payment. Now, that's called a corporate bond. Again, we have all sorts of corporate bonds, from the risky to, of course, real conservative ones. That's called the quality of the bond. Now, let's jump over into the world of mutual funds. This is where it gets tricky. And a mutual fund bond is made up of 200 to 300 different companies in one portfolio. So you could have one bond mutual fund with 200 to 300 companies in that portfolio. Now, if you were to say, Scott, I want to have safety and security, well, my question to you out there, listen carefully. Let's say I've got a mutual fund bond portfolio that's paying a 5% dividend. And let's say I have a 10 different corporate bonds, 10 different ones, that's averaging 5%. On one hand, you're going to say, I'd love to have the diversification of 200 companies versus 10 companies Well, wait. Did you understand who's offering better guarantees? Let's break it down. In a corporate bond, we know how the corporation's going to pay you and how much. So each individual bond, by way of, they write it out on the bond, they have a promise. But in a mutual fund, the mutual fund manager has, again, 200 companies, well diversified, right? But wait a minute. If the market is dropping and people get scared, you're going to be caught in a mutual fund portfolio as the market is dropping. But if you're holding individual bonds, you can choose to, I'm not dropping anything. I like that steady 5%. I'd like to have that guarantee of the company paying me a monthly, or I'm sorry, a twice a year, that payment. And I know I'm going to get that payment for a certain period of time. So I've got certainty and guarantees by the corporation. Now, I'm not guaranteeing the corporation is going to go out. I'm saying, let's take a look. So as an investor portfolio manager of these portfolio of 200, I'm not going to talk to you, my clients out there. I'm just going to buy and sell what I need to. So when people are redeeming money, I may be selling some very good bonds just to make up the yield. But you out there, individual, you can keep these bonds. Now, let's make it, you know what? That's really deep, Alex.
Yeah.
Do you want some certainty? Individual bonds have more stability than mutual fund bonds. How about make that real simple? Why? Because we don't know when the market's dropping and you want to sell, you know what? Or you don't want to sell, but you want to enjoy that 5%. They may have to liquidate, and this loss could be a permanent loss in a mutual fund portfolio. It's just a stock of a bunch of bonds. And this is where people don't have that predictability, that accountability. They don't know what's inside of it. But when we have individual bonds, we can look at them, we can analyze them, whether we should get out or not get out. And this is a big difference when we talk about the difference between mutual funds, bonds, portfolio, and individual bond, corporate bonds.
Want to learn more?
609-488-4646. If you're stuck in the weeds, give me a call off the air, 609-488-4646. That's our studios. If we can help you, let's help you, because bonds are tremendously exciting now as interest rates are starting to go down.
No, I love it, Scott. And really, it's all about that level of risk. You know, how much risk you want to take? How much do you want to be into the stock market? And I think that conversation, too, it is a different one as you get closer to retirement, right? So maybe discuss that a little bit. As, you know, you're getting closer to retirement, maybe, depending on who you are, maybe that's the security that you're looking for.
I really don't want people to get thinking that all bonds are safe.
Right.
So I'm very nervous what I just said a little while ago, because they're based on, number one, how long you got to keep them, called duration. But on top of that, you could buy what's called high yield bonds. Now, people get excited about high yield bonds because they think, oh, I'm going to make a lot of money. Woohoo! Wait a minute. High yield bonds are the riskiest, because there are companies who have the portfolios don't look too good. Maybe they need some right guard because they're starting to smell. Maybe they need to raise money, high yield bonds. And so lately they've been absolutely just catapulting, doing wonderful, because it's hard to borrow money. But when interest rates start to drop, do you want some guarantees? Do you want to sleep well at night? Let's find a tool in the toolbox called corporate bonds, whether they're risky ones or not that risky ones. Let's understand your risk level, because everybody wants cake and ice cream, but nobody wants the calories, the extra fat. So be careful on how much risk you want, because there's several types of bonds out there people really don't understand, and they could get stuck in the muck. That's why they give us a call, and when we talk to our clients about where they want to invest their money, we call it the dreams. I want the money to come in. I want to be able to take trips. I want to go on trips and not worry about the market. And we talk about the dollars, where to invest the money, and the tools that'll give you those dreams to come true. And then if we pass money on to the children, called the dynasty, how does it pass on? Do the kids usually cash everything in at once or not? And this is the definition of really a 3D planning in your portfolios. And bonds could be a good mix, as rates go down. As we just saw previously, the rates were skyrocketing. Bonds took a real they became a anvil around your neck. They were dropping like a time bomb. Now it's inverse. It could be a wonderful tool out there. So again, understanding your tools is critical, Alex. If you don't understand, call us.
Well, and there is no one size fits all, and that's one thing that your team gets really excited about is somebody coming in and it's a blank canvas and you're just looking at it and saying, hey, fill me with all the knowledge so I know who you are, what you're trying to do, and then you're going to use your knowledge and your team to try to craft a plan that's going to set that person up for the most success they can have.
We have tremendous variety of people, not only for the colors of the people, the good looking or the ugly ones like me, but we have people who are married, and they're married and they start their retirement journey at age 60, some 55, some 65, some older. Maybe they have younger spouses. Maybe the one spouse is 75 and the other spouse is 60. Wow, is that a diverse journey? How do we make the money last longer? What tools should we use so the money lasts a good long time for the younger spouse? And that doesn't mean that the younger spouse is going to live out the older spouse. In addition to the ride, in the early years, it's called the go-go. You want to go, see things, enjoy life. Like my best friend, his wife is about 12 years younger than he is. And they said, Scott, my wife, I'm going to have her retire right now. He is 65 right now, and his lovely wife is younger, and they want to start doing things. Well, you know what? Their planning is going to be different than if they were both 65. Or maybe they have a certain amount of income they need to last a good long time. Or maybe they're older. Let's say another couple out there that could be both 75. Do we want to pass money on? Where do we put it in? How much do we need to pull out? How do we pass the money on so the money lasts a good long time for them? Should we put the money into an irrevocable trust to hide the money from the nursing homes? Should we put the money in a different type of account to have some more growth? I don't know. And Alex, you made a good point. We have such a diverse amount of people out there. This is exciting. What makes me excited about my field, I mean, if I can last another 20 years in this field, I just love this because everybody's so different. It's not the same old, but everybody has the go-go years, going into the slow-go years, going into the no-go years. And so things change, Alex, and I think about this. What are you out there? If you're looking at retirement, how are you looking at retirement? What are you doing? How are you setting your retirement up? Are you talking about this on an annual basis with your advisor or on a semi-annual basis? And then are you looking at tax ramifications? And then how do I preserve the assets for the next generation? Hey, if you want, give me a call at our studios. You may have questions right now. 609-488-4646. Let me say it again real slowly because I don't want you to miss out to understand how mutual fund bonds, corporate bonds, and other type of investments out there could really be beneficial at this time. 609-488-4646. And by the way, that's our website, 609-488-4646.com.
More to come here on Financial Insanity.
Who likes uncertainty? Wall Street certainly does not. With near record inflation and partisan politics, there's a lot of uncertainty right now. What will America's future look like? What will your future look like? Will your taxes go up? Will your savings go down? For more than 40 years here in the Jersey Shore area, Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group have seen uncertainty come and go. No matter what the future holds, Scott can help you create a plan designed to preserve your finances in uncertain times. And it's not a matter of if those uncertain times will show up, but when. Call 609-488-4646 now to meet with Scott McLean and the team at McLean Advisory Group. If uncertainty is causing you to feel insecure, Scott McLean might be able to help. Call 609-488-4646 and schedule your visit today. Again, that's 609-488-4646.
Investment advisory services are offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC. Investing involves risk, including the potential loss of principal.
frankly, you could have your grandkids tweet out to your friends or go on the Facebook or Instagram or whatever it is and say, I got great information from Scott.
And you left out TikTok there as you're rambling off
that's right.
the different social media being used by the kids today. You got to remember that TikTok.
Oh, that's right. Tickety-tock.
This is Financial Insanity with Scott McLean, powered by McLean Advisory Group.
McLean Advisory Group is so thankful for our veterans and the sacrifices they've made over the years. We're going to talk today about some programs aiming to help these great veterans with daily activities, medical expenses, and more. Financial insanity, out-of-the-box thinking for your financial sanity. I'm Alex Dingman, alongside, as always, Scott McLean.
That's right.
Today, we have a good friend of his, Robert Brown, retired Navy veteran for over 20 years. He was a chief petty officer for the Persian Gulf, and now Veterans Service Officer helping folks. Robert, thank you so much for serving this great country and for continuing to help folks find those great benefits.
My pleasure.
That is awesome. And Scott, I know you guys have quite the history, and you like each other a little bit. You work together, you like each other, and that's a good mix, right, Scott?
Once in a while.
It is a good mix. His wife's beautiful family, took his family out on the boat. We just had some fun together. So the neatest thing is how it started as we were helping our veterans. I took a class, as I mentioned in our previous show, about the aid and attendance pension benefit, which that benefit for whether you're in a nursing home or you're at home. I mean, that benefit is really, really beneficial. My daddy was served in Korea. My grandfather served in World War II, and I am a 4F, not a Dodger. I'm a 4F. In other words, I didn't qualify because of surgeries on my body before when I tried to go in, but that was the rule in the McLean house. But notwithstanding, the aid and attendance benefit on our previous show talked about could you get benefits whether you're at home or not because you're sick or disabled, or maybe you need to go into the facility like Vineland, Paramus, Menlo Park. There's great facility. One of the best ones, I believe, in New Jersey is Vineland. But this program today, we spoke about that as a previous program, but this program today is for our veterans that serve. And there's two types of benefits, the two types of benefits that Robert is very well of. And Robert is 100% disabled veteran benefit, not because he's ugly and I'm better looking, but because he's actually, this is not textbook, this is real world. And of course, the lawyer in our office also is 100% disabled benefit, getting these wonderful benefits. There's a connected benefit, service connected benefit. And there's a non-service connected benefit. And Robert, if we looked at the service connected versus non-service, we talk about the aid and attendance benefit, which is a wonderful benefit for those of you or your parents. You need to know about it. You need to ask us. And by the way, if you don't know about that, the number is 609-488-4646. Please feel free to give our studios a call if you have any questions. We'll get you in touch with Robert or someone that can handle your calls. If I'm busy, I don't want to miss your call. 609-488-4646. But Alex, we're talking about this connected benefits. Rob, there's two types of benefits. Let's give a summary of the this other benefit we talk about. Well, you see on TV all the time this benefit down in Camp Lejeune. We've been doing this thing for how many years, Robert? Since 2008.
Sure, a long time.
And I have one of our gentlemen in our church who has spina bifida, which comes from the water, Camp Lejeune, and he, as child of a veteran, didn't know he qualified. And when I mentioned to him, he says, "I don't believe it." And so, of course, now he believes it. Robert, there's a lot of benefits. Let's go ahead and break it down as quick as you can as we think about this great benefit.
Okay. So generally the way this works is if you wore a uniform for some period of time, however long that was, and you got injured doing anything, it could have been your hand, your finger, your eye, your leg, your knee, what have you, and that's recorded somewhere in your medical record, then you report that. The big question to the VA before they'll pay you any compensation, this is the term, it's not a pension. This form is called a compensation. Before they pay you any compensation of money, they have to figure out, did this happen when you were in uniform, while you were active duty, or did it not? So if you were out of service and discharged, and you got a car accident, it's, quote, a non-service connected issue, and the VA will not pay that. So it had to have happened or started, or at least exacerbated while you were in the service in the uniform. So is this a service connected benefit? That's what has to be determined first. And the VA does a process to figure that out. Once that's done, they say, okay, here's your problem. I understand. I'm going to send you to a third-party adjudicator to figure out, to confirm the severity of that problem. If it's hearing, again, if it's a broken leg, what have you, and where do we go from there? Is it a recurring problem, or is it a problem that's been fixed and now you're 100% better? Again, no compensation. But if there is still an existing issue, then the VA will pay this compensation of a certain percentage, equating to a certain amount of dollars every single month, again, tax-free.
In our place in Florida, we have an Ocala farm, and we have an equestrian center down there. We're behind there, the World Equestrian Center. We have one of our gentlemen who takes care of our property down there, and he is a veteran. He was in Afghanistan. He went through some real challenges, and he wasn't sure about the benefits. I said, Robert, do me a favor and give my friend, we won't say his name, but give my friend a call. I think he qualifies for benefits. He was not getting 100%, and he did connect it. He's been through a lot of challenges. I won't go deep, but some of you listening right now, maybe you have been in some deep challenges and you're afraid to apply because you saw your buddies got damaged or hurt in the war, but you didn't, and therefore you think you shouldn't apply because you don't deserve it.
Downplaying the issue. You think other people deserve it, but you are just as eligible from a wartime vet versus a service-connected vet. Two different situations.
And Robert and I see this all the time, and I see these veterans as I'm doing the financial planning, and I ask the question, what went on? And when I see their eyes glaze over, they don't want to talk about it, I wait to get alone with them, or I have Robert call them, because a vet to a vet will talk, versus I'm a non-vet, even though I know this program very well. They would rather speak to somebody who's been in the muck, who's been in the trenches, who's gone through this war problem. And then, of course, I tell Robert, do me a favor, call maybe you. If your spouse, if you're on there and your wife or your husband's on there and you've seen your spouse go through this, give us a call, and maybe Robert can help you say some words where maybe your husband or your wife, the veteran, would like to get help, but they're afraid to get help. And I can't tell you, when I was developing another program with Columbia University, which is with the horses, if you'll see War Horses with Earl Mack, we were developing that program until COVID hit. I can tell you this is a tremendous benefit for PTSD as well. Robert can be very helpful. 609-488-4646. Again, please don't put yourself on the shelf.
Yeah.
Come off the shelf. Come off the, well, I don't need to apply. I'm tough. Well, I'm doing that now with my hurt knee. I walk around tough because I know I got to get surgery. But this is something you don't want to put off, because as you get older, more issues start to crop up, Robert. Is that right?
Oh, they do. They increase over the time, multiple times. And then had you not explored that issue, now you're putting it off. And the commencement begins when you start your application. You cannot get any retroactive money, but only moving forward once the application is put in. So don't hesitate. Talk to us. Get a hold of us. We'll figure out where do we navigate the waters from there, sailor speaking.
Once the application is put in. So thinking about it doesn't start it. Just filling out the form doesn't start it. You actually have to submit it.
Yeah,
that's correct.
And Scott, you've been helping people with their finances for over 40 years, but also very importantly, since 2008, you've been specifically helping people with their benefits if they're veterans, as you opened up the Veterans Benefit Advisory Group back in 2008. And we're talking today with Robert Brown, retired Navy Chief Petty Officer, served for 20 years, and now is a Veterans Service Officer. And guys, we have a few minutes left, and I know we're talking about some known benefits, some unknown benefits. What maybe are some other benefits or opportunities for folks that people should know about?
Well, there's a number of them. Some of them are, if you wanted dental care, you can get that. Not necessarily a particular benefit, but a benefit from having served. If you had dental issues, you can apply for a certificate of eligibility for a home loan. There are burial benefits that many people don't know about, as far as funeral services, costs incurred, the veterans cemetery, the plot, the grave marker, some of those. There's a spousal benefit that you can get for the spouses of the veteran who passed away. Again, a monthly basis for payment of that. Surviving spouse benefit, they called. Or there's dependent education benefits for the children of some of those veterans. For example, my daughter is going to Stockton University as a quote cut rate because the VA pays part of her education based upon my disability. So she's the recipient of my service and gets those benefits for her college education. So spouse dependent education benefits there. My wife could go to school if she would choose to because of the disability status that I'm at. And again, all of this is a monthly benefit, non-taxable. You don't talk about it to the accountants.
And Robert, I want to interject real quick because I think it's very important. The number 609-488-4646. But the point that this is great information for veterans, but also veterans' families as well. That's something for folks that are listening out there. There's opportunities for the families of veterans also. Again, that number is 609-488-4646. Robert, Scott, please continue. Got a couple moments left here. Very important stuff.
Couple things that hit my mind that I don't think we brought up. I can't find my dad's records. I can't find the DD-214. I don't know what to do. Robert, what do they do? Because this is a reason not to follow up because you don't know what to do. B, a reason to put it off and maybe I'll get to it later. It's almost like putting your Christmas tree up on December 24th because you don't have any money. Well, that's what I did when I was broke. But this is different. This is a benefit for life. Robert, I can't find the records. What do we do?
Okay, so to answer that really is talk to me. All right, tell me what you know and tell me what you don't know. And I say that because if you don't know how to get your record, and again, this could be the military discharge document, DD-214, or the War Department, the WD document, or it could be I don't have medical records from when I was in. I was in Agent Orange, and when we got discharged, we just sent us home, and I wanted to get out of the Vietnam, so I just left. I never got my records, my medical records, to prove any of my disability. So we could start from there. The answer is come and talk to us. I know exactly where we submit to. I know the documents to submit for. We just do a couple documents, submit it. It comes in the mail, and we begin. So if you don't have documents, that's okay. We'll get them. And it's as simple as that. We know where to lead everyone to get this benefit. You start with that. You need the foundation. Then we proceed forward with an application and submission.
I think the worst thing I find out with veterans being in this business now 40 plus years, my dad did pass away within 5 days when he had leukemia. Mom passed away in 3 months, and we never went for the benefit. I frankly never knew about this benefit until I was invited to school. I thought there was a scam, and they said, well, you pay $2,500, come to our school, learn about these benefits. I really honestly thought it was a scam. Dave Conley, one of our attorneys that we work with on estate planning, said, Scotty, what's $2,500 when you can help vets? And he always calls me a draft dodger, even though I wasn't, because I was 4F'd.
Yeah, the good friends give you the hardest time. That's for sure.
They do. They are. We've been together since 1984, Dave Conley and I. And the funniest thing, the wonderful most thing is I did go to school and I said, holy mackerel, every financial advisor should be asking the question, are you a veteran? Was your husband or wife a veteran? Maybe they passed away. Was your mom and dad a veteran? This is part of the estate planning process, Alex. As I meet with people, I'm asking lots of questions. They're asking, why are you asking these questions? Because I'm looking for benefits they are totally unaware of. I'm looking to reduce taxes, the best benefit. I'm looking to make their life much more pleasant. So when they retire, they don't worry about running out of money, but they enjoy their lifestyle. And that's why I added this veterans benefit in there, because they didn't take me, Alex. And I felt guilty because that's the whole thing in the McLeans. All the McLeans have to join. That was the rule. And they didn't take me. And I frankly was scared to call my dad saying they turned me down. They 4F'd me.
Sure.
But the moment I told him, I applied to every single facility, whether the Army, Navy, Marines, which I went for first. Every one of them turned me down. I didn't know they shared records. And then all of a sudden, I was afraid to call my dad. When I called him, he said, okay, son, no big deal. I thought I was going to get drilled down, because his goal and the family was to drill down people to find out the best way possible. Now, Robert, as we close on this subject, as a veteran, you've seen people apply, you've seen people get denied. And then they say, well, I applied, I did it myself, and I didn't get approved. And because they didn't get help. What do you say?
Well, first of all, I say you may not have completed every single document in every single line entry that the VA wants. So they don't explain the discrepancy on your document. They just send it back and say, sorry, not approved. So it becomes very important to know exactly what forms to fill out, exactly where to sign, how to answer the questions in order to get approved at the VA level. And based upon expertise here, That's how you get it through. We've had one claim who got approved, and Scott could verify, from start to finish in 10 days.
That was a miracle, though. That was
10 days.
Don't expect
Phenomenal.
that, guys. This was a miracle. I told you very clearly, but that was wonderful.
It was.
Well,
She started coming in. The wife came in. The husband's like,
A Marine Corps vet.
Marine Corps vet. His noodles went south. He was getting flashbacks. He came in. She was crying, didn't know what to do. They were burning cash. They were going to the nursing home. She came in from hearing me from other people. She came in and I will tell you this, I don't know how it happened so quick. I've never seen it, but it is out there. It is real as long as you do it correct, guys.
Yep.
Alex?
Yep. Thank you.
And you need some guidance. And that's really what we're out here for. We're to guide you to where you need to be based upon your service and your commitment in military.
Thank you.
And that's where it is. And again, serving vets is ideal and in my heart every single day.
Thank you so much for that. Great way to close. And again, if you need help, 609-488-4646, 609-488-4646. Great guest today, Veteran Service Officer Robert Brown. Robert, again, thank you for being a guest today. More importantly, thank you for serving our nation.
You're welcome.
Thanks, buddy.
This radio program may contain information which has gone regulatory or other significant changes since its original recording. The information and views expressed on today's show is educational in nature and is not intended to be a recommendation for any specific investment, product, strategy, plan, tax, or legal advice. Information presented is believed to be factual and up to date, but we do not guarantee its accuracy. Investment advisory services offered through Sound Income Strategies, LLC, a SEC-registered investment advisory firm. McLean Advisory Group and Sound Income Strategies, LLC, are not associated entities.
This radio show is a paid placement.